that's audible. Is it audible?
I'm
No.
afraid no, ma'am.
No.
Is it
No.
audible?
No,
that-
I think I think that you may not
Yeah.
use it. Do not use it if it can't be heard, you know.
Okay. Is it audible now?
I'm afraid no, ma'am.
No.
Can't, it's
Hello? Is it audible now?
no,
No.
ma'am.
All right. All right. We'll not use it.
All right, let us begin the show, please. Welcome to the Poets Talk About the Poets ninth episode. We have celebrated this occasion of poets talking about poets. Basically, it is to highlight the Indian language poets and their contribution and their achievement to the general public out there, and to highlight the regional languages. And as you all know, that poets' contribution is though they have this much of influence, but they have least they are least unacknowledged in terms of their work, as that it is not directly reflected in the society, and people mostly are ignorant of their contribution, but mostly the poets and the gullible mundane people. That is what. But this program is the one which we conceived, and on the September 7th, in the honor of Jayanta Mahapatra, who passed away in August 27th of August to 2023. And we try to promote and bring what you call introduce the languages, regional languages, but language poets and their achievement, their work basically. And that is what this program is all about. As you all know, poetry is a condensed form of emotional outburst that invokes the emotional emotion, a wide range of emotion in the reader's mind. And today we have in the earlier episode we talked about Dr. Pushpalata Bhatt. Ma'am talked about Hira Singh Rana in the Kumaon language, and Dr. Anita Nahar talked about Meena Alexander, is an English poet. Dr. Tangirala Srilata talked about Gurram Joshua, who is a well-known Telugu poet, a revolutionary poet. And Dr. Gargi Saha talked about Jivananda Das, who is a Bengali writer. So we have covered several languages, and still we have to cover some other indigenous languages. Today we had the honor of having Professor Shaheen Sharosh Khan, who would be talking about Rifat Sharosh, the Urdu poet, but Miss Joba Murumu. Joba Murumu will be talking about Pandit Raghunath Murumu, a Santali language, indigenous language. That is, it's really interesting. And Dr. Sangeeta Sharma had this honor of speaking about KKN Daruwala, English poet, and Miss Poonam Chawla Sood would be talking about Gopal Das Neeraj, who is a well-known poet in Hindi. I had this honor of having a host.
Where's the host gone? Can you hear Prasanna?
No, we can't hear him.
So I had this, sorry if I had this technical glitch. Once again, I'm absolutely clueless about that. But yes, I had the honor of having Dr. Rupali Sarkar Gaur, who is a former professor of Sri Venkateswara College, Delhi University, who would be acting as a co-moderator of this show, would be introducing Professor Shaheen Khan and Sharma ma'am, uh, Sangeeta Sharma ma'am. So I would like to hand over to mic to Dr. Rupali Sarkar Gaur to proceed this program further. Thank you.
Thank you, Prasanna. I know we've got a bit rattled because of the problem we are facing with the internet, but it doesn't matter. We're all friends here and we're all poets, and poets go through a lot of struggles. So, this is just one of the small struggles of our lives, also. And welcome everybody who are not only poets but great authors, academics, writers, and friends. This is a very special program for Prasanna and me because we felt that we had stopped learning. We were not learning anything, we were not knowing anything, we were not hearing our great friends who are academics, we were not learning about the poets who have written for this country in various parts. We've already done 16 languages. It's very interesting. I know I felt so proud today when I was listing the number of languages, and we've already covered 16. And so we begin today with Professor Shahina Khan, who I have known for some time, but for me, she will always be one of the great poets and award-winning radio broadcaster. Today is very special because Amin Sahani passed away. Sahani passed away, and there's a lot of talk about his being a great broadcaster. And today we have you, Shahina, and so in a sense, it's a tribute to Amin Sahani too, that we have for the first time a broadcaster, somebody who's very well known. So, academic, media, and community radio expert, writer, and poet, she holds a long and rich experience of broadcasting in India and abroad, and conducting workshops and events spanning over more than 40 years. She has also been writing poetry and prose with equal ease in English and Hindustani for more than 4 decades. She has been a keynote speaker at many conferences on environmental issues, women's issues, community issues, broadcasting, etc. She has participated in a number of live television shows as a person on burning social and cultural issues. She has a vast experience in planning, designing, and developing communication material. She has 3 published books to her credit, one called My Bouquet, which is a collection of her English poetry, and the other edited essays and poetry. The third one, a bilingual English and Hindi poetry collection called Contagious Smile. Well, you have a contagious smile, Shahina, has been published in April 2023. From Dr. Shahina Khan, Sarosh Khan, we will hear of Janab Rifat Sarosh Khan, the famed broadcaster and poet. So this is a very interesting day today because a daughter will be speaking about her father. And he was a renowned Urdu poet. And it is a coincidence that it is, when I invited Shahina, that she is his daughter. So we look forward to hearing you today, Shahina. Professor Shahina Khan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rupali Sarkar Gaur and Prasanna. I am so honored. Everybody at the Fertile Brain Songs of India. And as you said, very specially, I'm talking about a broadcaster, Rifat Sarosh. I'm a broadcaster myself. And also, we are also paying homage to Amin Sahani Sahab. Since the time is limited, so I was planning to use Rifat Sarosh Sahab's voice, but I think it's breaking, so we will not use it. Rifat Sarosh, a celebrated poet, author, dramatist, and broadcaster, is noted especially for his socio-historical sensibilities, his lucid prose, The lyrical quality of his poetry, operas, and verse plays, and his deep sonorous voice on All India radio broadcasts made him popular with people for more than 6 decades. He was prevalent voice and an excellent radio producer. His first poetry book, Wadi-e-Gul, was published in 1963, and when he breathed his last on November 30th, 2008, his 56th book was in press. These books contain short poems, lyrics, epic poems, radio plays, radio features, verse plays, dance dramas, operas, ballets, essays, travelogues, and autobiography. Rifat Sarosh has not only written poetic operas, but also presented them on stage with thumping success. He brought to life historical characters on stage with great artistry. He's not only written in various genres, but also produced radio features, etc. And his operas and verse plays were staged by Bharatiya Kala Kendra, Kathak Kala Kendra, theatre group Geetika, and Uma Sharma Dance School, only to name a few. But obviously today, in this short span of 15 minutes, I won't talk about his broadcasts, journalism, and prose, but just introduce Rifat Sarosh, the poet. Of course, I'm his daughter. I'm his younger daughter, and I'm really blessed. Sayyid Shaukat Ali, a glittering gem, was born on 2nd January 1926 in Bijnor, Tehsil Nagina, Uttar Pradesh, India, and became famous as Rifat Sarosh. He received his early education from his eldest brother, Maulana Sayyid Mumtaz Ali, a Fazil from Devband. His poetic pursuit was inspired and encouraged by another elder brother, Sayyid Ishtiyaq Ali Shauk. He started writing poetry and getting recognized at a very early age of about 13 years. Soon after his first degree, he moved to Mumbai, where he was literally handpicked by Sayyid Zulfiqar Ali Bukhari, the then station director of Bombay, now Mumbai station, to work in All India Radio, primarily because of his golden voice and Urdu verse and lyrics. He joined All India Radio in 1945 and retired from active service of All India Radio in 1984. From the age of 7 years, he used to express in drawing flowers and sketches. At about age 12-13, that is in 1938, he wrote his first couplet. And the couplet goes like this. Agar gul dikhata hai asare nikhat, to karta hai gulchi tashaddud numai. It says that when the flower blooms and blossoms, the gardener displays violence and plucks it. His first ghazal goes like this. न देखा आज तक दुनिया में कोई शादमा मैंने, जहां पहुंचा वही पाया नया एक आसमां मैंने. A very interesting event complementing his high quality of thought and poetry happened in 1942. His first nazm, Gulab Ka Phool, was published in the then very prestigious magazine Humayun. And the credit line read as poet Hazrat Rifat Sarosh. Due to the high quality of poetry and thought, they assumed that he was a very elderly person, and with reverence and respect, they used Hazrat word for him. Rifat Sarosh was all of 16 years of age then, still doing his matriculation. He contacted the publishers and appraised them of his age. And the opening of this poem, Gulab Ka Phool, is खिला हुआ है झाड़ियों में एक गुलाब का, खिला हुआ है झाड़ियों में फूल एक गुलाब का, अटे हुए हैं गुबार में जिसके आरिज़ो जबी. Ariz is cheek and jabi is forehead. खिला हुआ है झाड़ियों में फूल एक गुलाब का, अटे हुए हैं गुबार में जिसके आरिज़ो जबी. In this nazm, Rifat Sarosh talks about the color and the beauty of the rose flower and its spreading fragrance. Then, covered with dust and adversities, it withers and dies. And the last line of the poem is, खिला हुआ था झाड़ियों में फूल एक गुलाब का. Blooming, fragrant beauty, and in the end, withering. This is symbolic of life, the struggle and drudgery and final death. A beautiful depiction of journey of life. Please remember, this is 1942, and the poet is only all of 16 years of age.
Oh, very
Rifat
young.
Sarosh, yes. Rifat Sarosh was truly gifted. He never ceased to be creative. While driving his two-wheeler, sometimes he would shout out to the pillion to remember some poetry, and he would jot it down on the first stop. And a specimen again, नई हयात के नक्शे बना रहे हैं हम, नई बहार के परचम उड़ा रहे हैं हम, हमारा अज़्म है मोहकम कसम हिमालय की, हमारा दिल है गुलिस्तां कसम अजंता की, हमारा ज़हन शगुफ्ता कसम एलोरा की, कमाल फन के करिश्मे दिखा रहे हैं हम, नई बहार के परचम उड़ा रहे हैं हम, नई हयात के नक्शे बना रहे हैं हम. There's so much beauty in his poetry. He was run over by a slow-moving train at the age of 75 years. His strong willpower kept him alive in the hospital while being on the stretcher in the lift to be carted to the operation theatre. He tells a family member to jot down. And the words were, तुम जरा ठहरो, अभी मौत से मिलकर आया. तुम जरा ठहरो, अभी मौत से मिलकर आया. ऑपरेशन की नई मेज बुलाती है मुझे. ऑपरेशन की नई मेज बुलाती है मुझे. What courage! Absolutely. His name and fame as an Urdu poet spread far and wide in undivided India right from 1938, and his poetic journey of 70 years halted with his sad demise in 2008. Very briefly, I'll talk about his stage plays and his dance drama Shahjahan Ka Khwab, which is in a book form also now, was produced by Birju Maharaj himself, performing the lead role. It was initially staged in Delhi and later as Taj Ki Kahani. It was performed daily for 3 months consecutively at Hotel Shiraz, Agra. I had the good fortune to witness, and sometimes I even went for the rehearsal that Rifat Sarosh wrote, and he was producing along with Birju Maharaj. And a couple of lines from Shahjahan Ka Khwab. लिखी है संग मरमर से जो ये तहरीर उल्फत की, लिखी है संग मरमर से जो ये तारीख उल्फत की, सुनाएगी हमेशा दास्तां इंसान की अजमत की. लिखी है संग मरमर से जो ये तारीख उल्फत की, सुनाएगी हमेशा दास्तां इंसान की अजमत की. Similarly, his opera Jahan Ara was produced by the legendary Shanno Khurana, herself in the lead role. This was a thumping success. And a small quote from Jahan Ara, which again is in a book form available now. Qatl gharat, khoon, wahshat, barbariyat, allama. Qatl gharat, khoon, wahshat, barbariyat, allama. आदमियत ले रही है हिचकियों पे हिचकियां. खून तैमूरी उलझता है अब अपने आप से. खून तैमूरी उलझता है अब अपने आप से. भाई से गुरेजा, भाई भाई से गुरेजा, और बेटा बाप से. Likewise, Uma Sharma performed on Rifat Sarosh's Stree, taking the poetry to the masses, and some excerpt from Stree. मैं स्त्री हूं, मुझे सम्मान की मंजिल को पाना है. मैं स्त्री हूं, मुझे सम्मान की मंजिल को पाना है. न आए सामने कोई कि ये मेरा जमाना है. अनादर अब न कर पाएगा कोई नारी जाति का. चलेगी नाव तूफान में भले हूं आग का दरिया. मैं शक्ति का सरोवर हूं, मुझे उस पार जाना है. मैं स्त्री हूं, मुझे सम्मान की मंजिल को पाना है. समुंदर लांग जाऊंगी, पहाड़ों को उलट दूंगी. विधाता ने कहा दुर्बल तो किस्मत को पलट दूंगी. धरातल पर नए युग की नया मौसम जगाना है. मैं स्त्री हूं, मुझे सम्मान की मंजिल को पाना है. He knew Urdu and Hindi equally well. Rifat Sarosh has guided and impressed many generations. He has led an indelible mark due to his name and work. He was like an angel in his work and practice. He resembled an angel due to his smile, purity of his heart, of being a cherisher of friends, politeness, habit of working with sincerity and love. He has very successfully kept his literature away from slogan shouting. He wrote a lot of patriot poems, produced a lot on radio. He wrote an epic poem, Panipat. A few lines. शहीदों का लहू जाग उठा, शहीदों का लहू जाग उठा, कलाए सुर्ख की दीवारों दरो बाम तमाम, कलाए सुर्ख के दीवारों दरो आम तमाम. पूछते हैं कि यहाँ जश्न हंसी कैसा है, इनसे कह दो कि शहीदों का लहू जाग उठा, इनसे कह दो कि शहीदों का लहू जाग उठा. He used to speak so impressively, mixing a few couplets that used to please everyone in the meetings, gatherings, and social cultural events. He was impressed with Marxism, but also stayed within the realm of religion. About a couple of decades before his demise, he also went to pilgrimage to Mecca, and I have witnessed him performing namaz. Due to this reason only, there's a beautiful blend of progressive thought and religious approach in his literary creativity. He was a great family man, a good son, a loving husband, and a doting father. He wished to pass on his creative talent to his children. When his soulmate, Sabiha Sarosh, my mother, suddenly left for her heavenly abode in 1987, he expressed, "Chalte chalte ruk gayi gardish zami ki." For him, the whole universe stopped. Another expression, "Shehre shero shar tanha, घर के बामोदर तन्हा, शहर शेर शर तन्हा, घर के बामोदर तन्हा, तुम नहीं तो लगता है आलमे बशर तन्हा." And when he married off his daughter, he wrote, "एक कली जब फूल बनी तो छोड़ चली गुलशन को." About his childhood, he expressed like this in a very beautiful poem, एक छप्पर का घर. It sketches the whole house and the whole circumstances. He was a very, very poor boy. एक छप्पर का घर नीम के साए में ऊँगता है धुंधलके में लिपटा हुआ, शाम का वक्त है और चूल्हा है सर्द, सहन में एक बच्चा बरहना बदन, बासी रोटी का टुकड़ा लिए हाथ में, सर खुजाता है जाने है किस सोच में, और उसारे में आटे की चक्की के पास एक औरत परेशान खातिर उदास, अपने रुख पर लिए जिंदगी की थकन, सोचती है कि दिन भर की मेहनत के बाद आज भी रूखी रोटी मिलेगी हमें. तुम हिकारत से क्यों देखते हो इसे, दोस्त ये मेरे बचपन की तस्वीर है, दोस्त ये मेरे बचपन की तस्वीर है. And another very musical poem, one of my personal favorites. It is like while he's alone, so much comes alive. It's called तन्हाई में. घुंघरू से बजाती हैं तन्हाइयां कमरे में, कमरे की हर एक शय पर 100 नक्श हैं यादों के, बीवी के तकल्लुम की सरगोशियां रक्सा हैं, अहबाब की बातों के अंदाज गजल खां हैं, बच्चों की हंसी जैसे नगमा हो सितारों का, एहसास की वादी में आलम है बहारों का, घुंघरू से बजाती हैं तन्हाइयां कमरे में. And the turning point of the poem, ऐसा न हो आईना एहसास का छूट जाए तन्हाई के हाथों से, किस तरह उठाऊंगा मैं टूटी हुई किरचें भीगी हुई पलकों से, टूटी हुई किरचें भीगी हुई पलकों से. Towards the end of his life, when he felt that he was becoming frail, facing illness, he always looked after by his children, their spouses, grandchildren. And Rifat Sarosh wrote, रात ढलने लगी नींद आने लगी, रात ढलने लगी, नींद आने लगी, उंगलियों से कलम छूट जाने को है, मौत आवाज देने लगी है मुझे, मौत आवाज देने लगी है मुझे, कोई है इस कलम को जो गिरने ना दे, इस अमानत को जो नस्ल आदम की मीरास है, मुझसे लेकर नई नस्ल को सौंप दे, मुझसे लेकर नई नस्ल को सौंप दे. He wished that all his 4 children should stay united and happy in future, long after he is gone and his wife is gone. It is true. We are all very loving and united. And his wish is summed up in this one couplet, or 4 names are there. Raqsa is to dance. Raqsa hai Naveed ki aankhon mein, mustaqbil ke roshan खाके. रक्सा है नवेद की आंखों में, मुस्तकबिल के रोशन खाके, जावेद शबाना शाहीना, सब मिलकर हंसते हो जैसे, सब मिलकर हंसते हो जैसे. He had full cheeks and honey dripping lips, dignified, attractive voice, broad face, dark complexion. Whichever literary gathering Rifat Sarosh went to, he impressed people with his love and talent. Another salient feature of his personality was to stay unbiased and happy always. He never drank alcohol or smoked cigarettes. About himself, he wrote a couple of lines. Sar pasar ek pekari ikhlas hai Rifat Sarosh. Ikhlas is collect, khulus, loving. सर बसर एक पैकरी इखलास है रिफत सरोश, तुम कभी कुछ रोज उसके साथ रहकर देखना, तुम कभी कुछ रोज उसके साथ रहकर देखना. Due to his literary achievements and appreciation, Rifat Sarosh was invited with great respect by various countries like the erstwhile USSR, United Kingdom, Iran, Iraq, and Pakistan, etc., to important international events. He was accorded great reception and honor with a lot of national and international awards, recognitions for his contribution to Urdu literary world. He was conferred with Iqbal Samman, the highest literary award for Urdu literature in India, Suwitland Nehru Award, Urdu Academy Award, and the list is long, about 50 in all. Almost all his books were awarded. During his lifetime itself, 3 scholars from various universities did their PhD on Rifat Sarosh, the poet and author. He never lost balance in his approach in any respect. This is the reason Rifat Sarosh is viewed with great respect in the literary world. I end this with his words that he wrote when his elder brother died. नोहा उनका नहीं, गुजर गए जो जिंदगी की उदास राहों से, फेंक कर बोझ अपने कांधों का, नोहा उनका जो अब भी जीते हैं, दर्द को जिंदगी बनाए हुए, मरने वालों का बोझ उठाए हुए, मरने वालों का बोझ उठाए हुए. His poetry has universal appeal. It touches the hearts of whoever listens or reads it. Poetry, broadcasting, and literature lovers remember Rifat Sarosh with great reverence the world over. And I am his daughter, Shahina Sarosh Khan. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Shahina. We were absolutely mesmerized listening to you. It's a daughter's tribute, I know, but you brought across to us a poet. So somewhere you've actually deeply touched our hearts with his poetry. You have fulfilled for Prasanna and me the effort that we are making, the objective that we have for this program. and you brought Urdu poetry so close to us, and from a great poet like Janab Rifat Sarosh, and he was also a great patriot. I know that he wrote poetry during the very difficult times that this country has gone through. His poetry has, encouraged and inspired people, and we will continue to read him now. Thank you for introducing him in such deep words.
Thank you very much. I'm honored.
Thank you, Professor Shaheen Khan, ma'am. It was such a eye-pleasing, treat listening to you and watching you and paying tribute to your own father, and which is who is a scholar. I mean, we have no words. And thank you for accepting our invitation and joining our show.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Now it's
Thanks a
turn
lot.
of. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now it's our turn to move on to our next panel member, who would be talking about Pandit Raghunath Murmu, poet, writer, and a social activist who created a Santali script of Chiki. She will be Miss Joba Murumu would be talking about him, poet and educator. Miss Joba Murumu is well-known for her contribution to the promoting Santali language and literature. She has won prestigious awards, which includes the Bal Puraskar Award, Sahitya Academy, an MA in Santali and an MA in Hindi. Joba Murumu is a bilingual poet and writer. Over to Jobu Murmu, ma'am. We'd love to hear you about Pandit Raghunath Murmu.
थैंक यू प्रसन्न जी, थैंक यू रूपाली मैम, और मंच को नमन करते हुए सबों को जोहार और गुड इवनिंग। मैं पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू के बारे में आप लोगों के सामने प्रस्तुत करूंगी। प्राचीन काल से ही भारत में महान दार्शनिक एवं मूर्धन्य साहित्यकारों का प्रादुर्भाव होता आया है। सन 1905 की वैशाख पूर्णिमा के दिन इस पावनमय धरती के मयूरभंज जिला उड़ीसा के अंतर्गत डहाडी डाणपुस ग्राम के संथाल परिवार में ओल चिकी के जनक संथाली के महान साहित्यकार, नाटककार, कवि एवं लेखक गुरुगोंग के पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू का जन्म हुआ। आज भी उनके द्वारा रचित संथाली नाटक, लेख एवं कविताएं प्रासंगिक तथा प्रमाणिक दस्तावेज है। उनकी कई रचनाएं संथाली साहित्य की अमर कीर्ति है। उन्होंने मनुष्य के जीवन में सत्य, निष्ठा एवं सुचरित्र के माध्यम से जीने की राह बताई। उन्होंने मारंगबुरु निराकार प्रभु को प्रकृति के विशाल स्वरूप के रहस्यमय शक्तियों के सृजनकर्ता के रूप में माना। उन्होंने धर्म, शिक्षा एवं ज्ञान की ज्योति को सर्वोत्तम स्थान दिया। उनका कहना था कि शिक्षा एवं ज्ञान की प्राप्ति से समस्त मानव अपनी बुराइयों को दूर रख सकता है। शिक्षा एवं ज्ञान की ज्योति से ही मानव जीवन अपनी बुराइयों को दूर रख सकता है और शिक्षा एवं ज्ञान की ज्योति से ही मानव जीवन आलोकित होता है और उसकी अलग पहचान बनती है। उनके द्वारा रचित संथाली कविता की एक पंक्ति उद्धृत है, ओल दो बती कना जति मैल माजाव फरचे, अर्थात शिक्षा ही वह दीपक बाती है जिससे समाज में फैली अंधकार रूपी मैल, अंधविश्वास एवं बुराइयों को साफ कर सकता है। पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू ने कहा कि सत्य, धर्म एवं निष्ठा पर आधारित ही जीवन की सबसे बड़ी पूंजी है। यह सरना धर्म का उपासक थे। वह प्रकृति की महानतम एवं उनके रहस्यमय शक्ति के पुजारी थे और मानव सेवा ही धर्म का मूल पाठ एवं मंत्र कहे। उन्होंने मातृभाषा से शिक्षा की विकास एवं साहित्य की सृजनात्मक रचना के प्रति लोगों को प्रोत्साहित किया। उनके द्वारा लिखित संथाली कविता की पंक्तियां लाक्चर सेरई में लिखा गया है। ये ज्वलंत प्रमाण है। ओल मेना तमा रोड मेना तमा धोरम मेना तमा आम हो मेना, ओले माल ले रे रोड माल ले रे धोरम में माल ले रे आम हो मादो। ओल मेना atamaru or मेना atamadoro मेना atama amu मेना doro मेना atama amu मेना ओलेम आदले रे रोलेम आदले रे दरो में मादले रे आमो मादो। अर्थात लिपि और भाषा से एक पहचान बनती है। सत्य, धर्म एवं ईमान की राह से ही मानव जीवन विकसित होता है। यदि लिपि की कहीं पहचान ना हो, भाषा ना हो, जीवन में सत्य, धर्म और ईमान की कहीं आस्था ना हो, तो मानव जीवन दिशाहीन होकर अंधकार में स्वयं विलीन हो जाएगा। पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू ने जीवन में सात्विक प्रेम के महत्व को अनेक प्रकार से परिभाषित किया है। जैसे आबो अखड़ा जो तो नगीना अखड़ा शोभाया जो तो नगीना अखड़ा शोभाया। अर्थात हमारे अखड़ा के फूल पौधे को हम देखभाल करेंगे तभी अखड़ा की शोभा बढ़ेगी। उसी प्रकार दारे गोजो मेरो चेड़ा मेरो चेड़ी दादा दायागी मेरो चेड़ा दादा दायागी जो कन आबो आजती धोरो मोदारी चेदा बाबू दादा आबो नायलते चेदा बाबू दादा। यानी वृक्ष को मरते हुए देखकर तोता पक्षी रोता है, तोता रोता है लेकिन बहुत दया लगता है, लेकिन मर रहा है हमारा जाति धर्म की शक्ति, क्यों नहीं रोते हैं हम लोग उसे देखकर। आदिम संस्कृति, उनके गौरवमय इतिहास, उनके रीति रिवाज, परंपरागत सामाजिक शासन व्यवस्था, मछी परगना की पद्धति के साथ साथ उनके संपूर्ण जीवन कलात्मक पहलुओं एवं दर्शन को विदु चंदन नाटक के माध्यम से दर्शाया है। इस ग्रंथ को उन्होंने 1942 में पब्लिश किया था, जिसमें कला साहित्य के साथ साथ मानविक प्रेम, मानव जीवन के यथार्थवादी रूप, मनोवैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण और दार्शनिक विचारधारा को उन्होंने छायावाद एवं रहस्यवाद के आधार पर व्यक्त किया है। पंडित मुर्मू ने सात्विक प्रेम को अत्यंत मार्मिक रूप से दर्शाने का प्रयास किया है, जिनमें कोयल पक्षी को पकड़ने की चाह को व्यक्त करते हैं, साथ साथ दाम्पत्य जीवन की सात्विक प्रेम के बंधन को अटूट बनाए रखने के लिए संकल्प लेते हैं कि चाहे कुछ भी हो, एक सच्चा प्रेमी और अपने प्रेम के अटूट बंधन को चिरंतन एवं शांत बनाए रखेगा। इन उद्धृत कविता की पंक्तियों के माध्यम से पंडित मुर्मू ने जीवंत एवं सृजनात्मक कविता की रचना कर दी है। जैसे डेरमा चोट लाफांग रे हरियर साकाम झूड़ तला रे कोयलेम एने जोंकान कोयलेम सेरें जोंकान लाठा खानेम हुनंग साबक खानेम कोयलिंग इदी के माँ कोयलिंग असूल के माँ। अर्थात कोयल पक्षी जो उच्च शिखर पर हरे पत्तों की ओट में बैठा है, वो अपने गीत एवं नाच में खोया हुआ है। यदि किसी तरह पकड़ में आ जाता तो उसे अपने साथ ही रखता और पालन पोषण कर जीवन व्यतीत करते। उसी प्रकार और एक सिबिलमन गति सिबिलमा ओत मुचत गति सिरमा मुचत बिन इलते गति ओबोर बुरु उडलेका सिबिलमन गति सिबिलमन जीवी आदा गति हड़मो आदा बिन जड़िते गति रोहड़ गडा लाले लेका सिबिलमन गति सिबिलमा ओत मुचत गति सिरमा मुचत सिबिलमा bilama o tumuchad gatin sir mamuchad si bilama yagatin sir bilama bini gatin o buru buru udalika si bilama जीवी आदा गति मो आदा बीनी जड़ित गति रोड गाड़ा लाले निका सिबिलमा यगति सिबिलमा ओ तमुचद गति सिर मामुचद सिबिलमा यगति सिबिलमा। अर्थात प्रियतम हमारे प्यार का पवित्र बंधन अटूट एवं सीमाहीन है। हमारे प्यार का बंधन कदापि टूट नहीं सकता है। भले ही स्थिर एवं अटल पर्वत पंख के बिना उड़ जाए, मरुभूमि की सूखी नदियों में बाढ़ क्यों ना आए, परंतु हमारे बीच प्यार का बंधन सीमाहीन, विशाल धरती एवं अनंत आकाश की ऊंचाई तक फैला हुआ है। हे प्रियतम, हमारा यह पवित्र बंधन सदा अजर अमर है या अटूट चिरंतन एवं शांत है। पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू ने खिरवाड़ वीर नाटक के माध्यम से फिरंगी शासन, उनके दलाल, सामंतशाही समाज के ठेकेदार तथा उनके इर्द गिर्द पल्लवित शोषकों के खिलाफ आंदोलन खड़ा किया। पंडित मुर्मू ने दाड़े के धोन नामक पुस्तिका में माध्यम से धन की प्राप्ति केवल मेहनत, श्रम एवं शक्ति तथा ईमानदार से अर्जित करना ही सर्वोत्तम कहा है। उन्होंने भ्रष्टाचार, कालाबाजारी एवं झूठ फरेब एवं रिश्वतखोरी के खिलाफ लोगों को जागृत किया। इस नाटक के माध्यम से उन्होंने लोभ, लालच की भावना को धिक्कारा और दूसरी ओर सेवा भावना, मानवीय प्रेम और भाईचारे की भावनाओं को मानव जीवन में उत्प्रेरित एवं प्रोत्साहित किया। पंडित जिस प्रकार पुरानी पुरानी आलांगा जनो पुरानी मिलिले कानगे आलांगा जनो पुरानी मिलिले कानगे अमो दादारा रे धनु दारा रे जाना महारा आकाना मुझे मन सलगे जाना महारा आकाना मुझे मन सलगे चोरी तेरे बोरानी आलंग लंग मिलिगे साड़ांगे सरचा गे ताहेंगे लंग कुसी गोया गो दो बालंग साओ सारे लगता है। अर्थात ए कमल रानी, हम दोनों का जन्म कमल रानी एक ही तरह है। तुम भी पानी के अंदर में, मैं भी धन के भंडार में, हम दोनों का जन्म एक ही तरह का है। चरित्र में भी कमल रानी हम दोनों एक समान है। निर्मल स्वच्छ ही हमें रहने की आदत है। कलंकित हम सहन नहीं कर सकते, दूरी बनाकर रहते। पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू के एक अन्य महाकाव्य को हम हितल महाकाव्य के रूप में पाते हैं। पंडित मुर्मू जी के द्वारा रचित यह महाकाव्य सरना संस्कृति अथवा सरना धर्म के दर्शन को प्रतिबिंबित करता है। हितल महाकाव्य में उस मारांगबुरु निराकार प्रभु की रहस्यमय सृष्टि, प्रकृति एवं उनकी रहस्यमय शक्तियों का वर्णन किया गया है। जैसे लासाणे निगे धोरमो लासाणे निगे लासाणे निगे धोरमो लासाणे निगे अमा माया माणा धर्मो साणे देंगे आमा माया माणा धर्मो न साणे देंगे शेर मारे माई पी लेंगे ले बुंगा को चूरो ओ शेर मारे माई पी लेंगे बुंगा को चूरो धरती रे माँ मन में को अरे जीवी को लगो धरती रे माँ मन में को अरे जीवी को लगो आमा माया को आंगो चुमा आमा माया मां जीवी को आंगो चुमा ओना mente noa o anu kaman siriji ke ओना mente noa o anu kaman siriji के अर्थात अपरंपार है अपरंपार तुम्हारी माया की महानतम अपरंपार है प्रभु आसमान में ग्रह तारे देवी देवता विचरण करते धरती में हम सभी मानव एवं जीव विचरण करते तुम्हारी महानतम लीला को जीव ग्रहण कर लेते इसीलिए ही तुमने इस ब्रह्मांड को ऐसी सृष्टि दी है पंडित मुर्मू हमारे सामने कई रूपों में आते हैं केवल नाटककार कवि लेखक एवं साहित्यकार ही नहीं बल्कि वे महान दार्शनिक गुरु शिक्षक राजनेता व्याकरणविद ज्ञानी भाषाविद समाज सुधारक एवं नायक के रूप में हमारे सामने आए पंडित मुर्मू एक तरफ ओलचिकी के जनक के रूप में जाने गए तो दूसरी तरफ एक महान शिल्पकार के रूप में भी पहचाने गए पंडित रघुनाथ मुर्मू का चिंतन दर्शन एवं समाज को सुधारने की प्रक्रिया मानव जीवन के लिए प्रेरणा का प्रतीक है आज भी उनकी जीवन गाथा से लोग अनुप्रेरित होकर अस्यका जैसे संगठन के माध्यम से ओलचिकी एवं आदिम जनजातीय विशेषकर संथाल समुदाय अपनी सांस्कृतिक परंपरा एवं शासन व्यवस्था का संचालन करने में लगे हुए हैं धन्यवाद जोहार
Thank you so much. Joba, does Joba mean Joba Phul? This is the
Thank you.
hibiscus flower. आपने जो हमें बताया, what you have told us today, you have put us in touch with a very important एक अंश जो हमारे देश का है, इस धरती का है, उसको जो हम दूर हो गए हैं, आपने वो हमें फिर से मिला दिया है. You brought us together and nature, how प्रकृति का इतने पास है. जो भी गाना आपने गाया इतनी सुरीली आवाज में, beautiful voice you sang it, and जो आपने प्रकृति का जो रूप है, जो संथाल, I've seen the Santhali dances, मुझे लग रहा था मैं भी नाचूं. The music, the dance, the poetry. हम कितने वंचित थे उन चीजों से. We are so far away just because. And आप जैसे scholars, आप जैसे लेखक कवि, आप लोग आके हमें इन चीजों के बारे में बताया है. Thank you so much. I'm sure सबको बहुत बहुत प्रेरित किया है आपने आज.
आभार मैम. थैंक यू मैम.
Prasanna, I'm sure you have something to say.
धन्यवाद मैम. मेरे तरफ से भी आपका क्या melodious singing and expression, you brought the flavor of the soil, and we were, I mean, such a mesmerizing, so soulful tunes you read through his words. I mean, really remarkable. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming, and thank you for gracing this occasion. And thank you for
पंडित मुर्मू जी के जो लिपि जो उन्होंने वापस ले आए हैं, जो उन्होंने क्रिएट किया है, उससे जो नैरेटिव्स है, जो स्टोरीज जो है, आपकी जो आपकी जो दुनिया है, उसकी जो कहानियां हैं, वो हमारे पास लाए हैं. वो कहानियां हमारी भी हैं, हमारी जैसी हैं. You have put us in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prasanna, what else now? We introduce our next poet and speaker, Dr. Sangeeta Sharma is from Canada. Dr. Sangeeta Sharma is a well-known poet, author, critic, and academic. She's also the senior editor of the renowned international e-journal Setu. You see the picture at the back, which is the thing, and Setu means bridge. So she's bridging the gap for us. Poet, critic, and author, former head, Department of English, B.K. Birla College of Arts, Science, and Commerce. Sangeeta is a prolific poet and literary critic and runs a very popular literature series in which today she will introduce and speak to us about a living legend, K.K. N. Daruwala, one of India's best known poets, Sahitya Academy Award winner, once a police officer, and known to all of us. He's in almost all textbooks in our colleges and schools. Welcome, Dr. Sangeeta Sharma. It is an honor for us to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rupali. I am so honored to have been invited by you, by the Fertile Brains, by you, by Prasanna Kumar. And I'm also excited to, speak about Mr. K.K. Daruwala. So welcome you all to this short presentation. Dear friends, I'm gonna speak on K.K. Daruwala, the leading figure of Indian poetry in English today. He is the recipient of the Sahitya Academy Award 1984 and the Commonwealth Poetry Prize 1987 for Asia. At the outset, I would like to recite one short poem of K.K. Daruwala to bring his distinct flavor to the table. It's a very short poem, Bars. If you want a cage, my dear, you do not have to travel far. If you want to feel hemmed in, you will be hemmed in. Look for scars, you will be full of scars. Even light can turn into a cage. The cage of light has 7 bars. This poem, Bars, is of mere 13 lines, but very profound. In my view, these couplets indicate that it's all in the mind. You can make heaven or hell anywhere. It's one's perspective. If you think, you believe. Hence, one should remain optimistic. I think that's the message of Daruwala. And hopeful in every given situation. Negative thoughts should better be shelved. Before I analyze another of K.K.'s poem, I present his biographical details that have a strong influence on his works. K.K. Nasir Wanji Daruwala was born in 1937 in Lahore in undivided India. In 1945, his father, Professor N.C. Daruwala, retired from Government College Layalpur, now Shah Faisalabad, and moved to Junagadh as tutor and guardian to the prince. His latest novel, Ancestral Affairs, published by HarperCollins, dwells on Junagadh's disastrous accession to Pakistan in 1947. From Junagadh, the family moved to Rampur in UP in 1948, where he first studied in Bakar School and later Raza Inter College. So they were quite substandard institutions. The situation was pretty chaotic for him because the language of instruction kept changing, the last two being Urdu and then Hindi. From 1952 to 58, he studied in Government College, Ludhiana, where he also captained his college cricket team. He picked up his love for English literature and cricket from his father. Daruwala joined the Indian Police Force in 1958. He won the Sahitya Academy Award given by the Sahitya Academy, India's National Academy of Letters, in 1984. and returned the same award in October 2015 in protest, and with a statement that our organization Sahitya Akademi has failed to speak out against ideological collectives that have used physical violence against authors. And he didn't take back his award even after Sahitya Akademi passed a resolution condemning the attacks on rational thinkers. In an interview to the Statesman, Daruwala expanded on why he did not take back his award, saying, "What you do once, and you can't be seen as giving back an award and then taking it back." He received the Commonwealth Poetry Prize for Asia in 1987. One of India's finer and better known poets, K.K. and Daruwala's first book of poetry, Under Orion, was published by the Writers' Workshop, Calcutta in 1970. Since then, he has brought out 12 volumes of poetry. He has also published several short stories, and his debut novel, For Pepper and Christ, appeared in 2009. He was a special assistant to the Prime Minister in 1979. Daruwala was a Colombo Plan Scholar at Oxford, 1980 to 81, where he worked on politics in South Asia. He lives in Delhi now. Nissim Ezekiel commented, "Daruwala has the energy of the lion." So that was his bio, a rich and very impressive one. Now let's have a look at one of his best poems, Migrations. Migrations are always difficult. Ask any drought, any plague, ask the year 1947. Ask the chronicles themselves. If there had been no migrations, would there have been enough history to munch on? Going back in time is also tough. Ask anyone backtracking to Sargodha or Jhelum or Mianwali, and they will tell you. New faces among old brick, politeness, sentiment dripping from the lips of strangers. This is still your house, sir. And if you meditate on time, that is no longer time. The past is frozen. It is stone. That which doesn't move and pulsate is not time. If you meditate on that scrap of time, the mood turns pensive like the monsoons, gathering the skies but not breaking. Mother used to ask, "Don't you remember my mother? You would be in the kitchen all the time and run with the fries she ladled out, still sizzling on the plate. Don't you remember her at all?" Mother's fallen face would fall further at my impassivity. Now, my dreams ask me if I remember my mother. And I'm not sure how I will handle that. Migrating across years is also difficult. That's the end of the poem, Migrations. Well, friends, we all know that migration has become a hot theme these days that has got a lot of critical and creative attention across the world. Migration, displacement, diaspora, finding new homes, leaving old homes, migration as a field of academic study and investigation has attracted prestige and generated a lot of cross-cultural conversations in various languages. It provides not only a rich dialogue, but offers great insights into the movements from one place to another. This poem is an interesting poem that addresses some key concerns or issues. It starts with a statement. Let me go back to it. Migrations are always difficult. Ask any drought, any plague. Ask the year 1947. Ask the chronicles themselves if there had been no migrations. Would there have been enough history to munch on? So well said. The first stanza itself sets the template, the mood for this reflective poem, setting the stage. Poet Daruwala suggests that in the absence of migrations, there would have been no histories, personal and political. Then subsequent stanzas unfold epic histories, national and individual. Epic events are recalled and the spectrum of emotions caught expertly by the poet. He says that going back in time is extremely tough. And then the most striking line in the second stanza resonate with me. New faces among old brick, politeness, sentiment, dripping from the lips of strangers. This is still your house, sir. You leave a place, you leave your old homes, and when you go again, you find either new occupants or some totally new scene. And the new occupants might say that, yeah, this is still your house, sir, but we know that it is not. It's no more ours. Trauma, wounds reflect in these simple lines. In third stanza, I again quote, and if you meditate on time, that is no longer time, the past is frozen, it is stone, that which doesn't move, and pulsate is not time. If you meditate on that scrap of time, the mood turns pensive, like the monsoons gathering in the skies, but not breaking. K.K. Daruwala says, if you meditate on time, it's frozen into stone. It's dead reality for you. It's not organic anymore. If you meditate on that scrap of time, the mood turns pensive, like the monsoons gathering in the skies but not breaking. How beautifully said, that you drop down in your own deep thoughts, you get emotional, your throat, as it gets choked with emotions, the same way here he has said, like the monsoons gathering in the skies but not breaking. You resist getting teary-eyed. You try to contain your emotions in your heart. These lines beautifully portray the trauma of loss, displacement, and that pain which is inside but cannot be, articulated in words. Words become inadequate in terms of certain grave losses, events. You cannot express the deep anguish, the pain. And then again, in the last stanza, he poses this question. I quote again, mother used to ask, don't you remember my mother? You would be in the kitchen all the time and run with the fries she ladled out, still sizzling on the plate. Don't you remember her at all? Mother's fallen face would fall further at my impassivity. Unquote. This is the most painful part of personal history, which is again part of larger social history. The word mother has layered connotations. It could be motherland, it could be mother tongue, all your mother connections, earth, homes that you left, all the things that shape you up, that give you your value orientation as a human being. So if you tend to forget your heritage and all those precious moments that shape your inner and outer worlds, then you are lost as an individual, a lost soul. And then again, this question, now my dreams ask me if I remember my mother, and I'm not sure how I will handle that. Migrating across years is also difficult. So what you have left behind, you have left it. You cannot revisit those moments. Of course, you can visit in the mental kaleidoscope. So your videos run in your mind when you try to think about old things, about past wonderful memories, sometimes sad memories. So the videos are there in your mind, the colorful kaleidoscopic images, they pop up in your mind as you think of them. Same way, he concludes in this iconic poem that migrations are difficult, and here we are able to identify with this mood because as human beings, all of us make big or small journeys, and we keep on moving from one place to another. And this poem resonates so well with me, and it keeps on traveling with us as a faithful friend and companion. This poem both comforts and unsettles, thus making Daruwala a tour de force of Indian poetry in English. With this, I conclude. Thanks again for offering this wonderful platform. Thank you.
What an incredible presentation. I have read
Thank
Kiki and Daruwala many times. I've even taught him, but I think I haven't heard anything like what you have done today. It's tremendous, and it fits in with what everybody's been talking about, and that is, being somewhere where our roots are to try and, connect. And how migrations, whether you're migrating away from your language, from your roots, from your people. And K.K. Daruwala, there's a wonderful interview of his, which I think we can all watch it at some time with, I think this is, I can't remember his name, it's very
I
famous.
would love to interview him if I could get
Yeah.
his email ID or some
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah, I've been trying very hard, but he's he's a police officer who, in that interview, I just want to add a little bit. I don't want to take up too much time because we still have Poonam waiting for us.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that as a police officer, he was actually in touch with the grassroots.
Mhm.
One day he was somewhere posted in a small district, and there were two people on a charpai carrying a dead body.
Uh-huh.
And in the village. And that's when he wrote a poem called Pestilence.
Mhm.
So these little things, he would see.
Yeah, the
While as a
epilepsy also is
policeman,
a
yes,
wonderful poem, but due
yes,
to time
epilepsy
constraints,
also,
I
yes.
stuck
Somebody
to.
fell down.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, and I think that you're sitting there in Canada, your students are missing you. I hope you're teaching also still, because you're an incredible teacher. And
I am
on
editing
this
and
segment,
writing. That's it.
on on this particular segment, we always have one Indian poet who writes in English, because that English is ours. This English language, जिसमें हम भी बात करते हैं, आप लोग सब करते हैं, is an Indian language, and therefore the Fertile Brain always has one poet who is a poet in Indian. I am so happy with what you have presented, Prasanna. I'm sure you have. We all have so much to say, but there's so little time.
Yeah, I understand.
I think we should start one where
Exactly,
we all
ma'am.
discuss.
Sangeeta, ma'am, this
No, such words
very
say too.
impressive presentation, and yes,
Thank you.
spectrum of emotions you displayed with very balanced. It's beautiful analysis, ma'am. Just such an
Beautifully
honor
explained, yes.
for Dr. Sangeeta Sharma, ma'am, spoken about Kiki Daruwala. Thank you, ma'am. I had the honor of
Honored.
let me take the honor of inviting the other guest member, Poonam Chawla Sood, who would be talking about Gopal Das Neeraj, who is a renowned Hindi poet and writer. Poonam Chawla Sood is an award-winning bilingual poet, author, and translator. She has published 2 poetry collections, a collection in Hindi and one in English. Her translated books include Bhuvan Mahajan's Marathi book Mitra Jivache into English, Soulmates, and Narayana Narayana by Didi Rajeshwari Modi. Her poems have been translated into Tamil, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. She is founder, chairman, and active member of many literary and social organizations. So, this honor of talking about Gopal Das Neeraj. Over to you, Poonam, ma'am. Please unmute your mic. Poonam Sood, ma'am, kindly unmute your mic.
Yeah, my regards to Rupali ma'am, Professor Shahina Khan, Dr. Mumru, and Dr. Sangeeta Sharma, and to you, Prasanna. Thank you so much. There is little time and so many books about Neeraj, and which I have and which I read, and there are plenty my library holds. And so without taking much time, I'll just start off. And I think most of us are aware of Gopal Das Neeraj. They've heard about him. He's a prominent name in Hindi literature and who's ruled the stage for nearly 7 decades. He was born on 4th January 1925 and in a small village, Purwali in UP. His actual name was Gopal Das Saxena, and he gained popularity by his pen name Neeraj. He came to be known as Gopal Das Neeraj. Neeraj, being a famous Indian poet and author, was also a popular choice for Hindi Kavi Sammelans. I remember the times when Kavi Sammelans were held in the late hours at night, and Neeraj's name was kept in the last because so that the audience could sit throughout the program. And Neeraj's poetry was so profound, but his style and his vocabulary was very simple and reached out to the masses and one and all. So that's, I think, what made him so popular. For example, when he says that अब तो मजहब कोई ऐसा भी चलाया जाए, अब तो मजहब कोई ऐसा भी चलाया जाए जिसमें इंसान को इंसान बनाया जाए. This is a simple couplet from his ghazal which advocates humanity. He further continues, आग बहती है यहाँ गंगा में झेलम में भी कोई बतलाए कहाँ जाकर नहाया जाए. Here he refers to the two prominent rivers raging in fire in two countries which are at hostile ends, and questioning that where the ordinary men should go and seek shelter and earn their daily living. So this is from the perspective of a common man. After doing his graduation and high school from Etawah, he did his master's from DAV College, Kanpur. Gopal Das Neeraj spent a major slice of his life in Aligarh, where he taught Hindi in local colleges. On 9 February 1960, Neeraj came to Mumbai on a program, the Kavi Malhar, and where he recorded his first song for Cha 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 on Iqbal Qureshi's music, Wo Hum Na The, Wo Tum Na The, and Subha Na Aayi, Sham Na Aayi, Jis Din Teri Yaad Na Aayi. Neeraj, he was invited by late R. Chandra, producer, director, to write songs for his picture Nai Umr Ki Nai Fasal. This got released earlier, and the song got immensely popular, which was adorned with Roshan's music. Swapn Jhare Phool Se, Meet Chubhe Shool Se. I'll just sing a para for you. स्वप्न झरे फूल से मीत चुभे शूल से लुट गए श्रृंगार सभी बाग के बबूल से और हम खड़े खड़े बाहर देखते रहे कारवां गुजर गया गुबार देखते रहे कारवां गुजर गया गुबार देखते रहे. I heard somewhere that Neeraj wrote this song when he was 23 years old, and he was heartbroken at that time. His girlfriend was getting married to another man, and he stood watching her go from his friend's terrace opposite their house, and these emotions were so fragile that he saved it, and this was used in this movie. And this song, when it became immensely popular, so he started his journey in Bollywood. He was also introduced to the legendary S.D. Burman by Devanand, who challenged him to write a song for the protagonist of his movie, a village girl who has gone abroad and is drunk. But he also advised that he should not use words like drink, alcohol, frenzy, pass out, and this should not be used in the song. And I failed to guess what the song was, but it's a very popular number played on Wahida Rahman, Rangi Lare. Rangi Lare tere rang mein, यूं रंगा है मेरा मन, छलियारे ना बुझे है किसी जल से ये जलन. Then came one after the other. He gave hits, super hits. फूलों के रंग से, दिल की कलम से, लिखे जो खत तुझे, वो तेरी याद में, हजारों रंग के नजारे बन गए. Then शोखियों में घोला जाए फूलों का शबाब, उसमें फिर मिलाई जाए थोड़ी सी शराब, होगा यूं नशा जो तैयार, वो प्यार है शोखियों में घोला जाए. And Oh Meri Sharmili, he was basically a romantic poet, and you'll have to believe me that, and he was an ardent lover too. So when he writes a song, है प्यार हमने किया जिस तरह से, उसका न कोई जवाब, जर्रात है लेकिन तेरी लौ में जलकर हम बन गए आफताब. Apart from them, he also wrote songs which are still used on borders when our soldiers march. So, हिम्मत वतन की हमसे है, इज्जत वतन की हमसे है. And he also gave a very, idiom to which we use, "ए भाई जरा देख के चलो." So that was a song which he wrote for Raj Kapoor's Mera Naam Joker, and it became so popular that you see on the roads every person, every rickshaw man, or they say, "ए भाई जरा देख के चलो." And his songs proved to Mumbai and the music world that if Urdu language can offer Sahir Ludhianvi, then Hindi can also offer a Neeraj. And deeply influenced by Dr. Harivansh Rai Bachchan's verses, Neeraj wrote poetry in full pure form. He did not play with the language, and he's just stuck to Hindi. Neeraj had a very tough childhood, like we heard so many poets talking about. I think that is what, it's lays down the foundation, the struggles in life. And Neeraj lost his father at a very young age, and he was away from his mother. He used to sell beeries and cigarettes, and even pulled rickshaw for some time. And he even dived deep into the water to get some coins. Then he learned stenography, and he started living a very tough life. And this great times, they stayed with him throughout. Though he had a very struggling childhood, but he was very optimistic. So when his contemporary poet, Dr. Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, wrote a poem on death of a lyricist, he very humbly wrote on the birth of a lyricist. He also draws attention to the present times and state affairs. He says, नेताओं ने गांधी की कसम तक बेची, कवियों ने निराला की कलम तक बेची. गांधी की कसम तक बेची, कवियों ने निराला की कलम तक बेची. मत पूछ इस दौर में क्या क्या ना बिका, इंसानों ने आंखों की शर्म तक बेची. इंसानों ने आंखों की शर्म तक बेची. The bright lights of and busy lifestyle of Mumbai could not lure Neeraj for long. After achieving tremendous success and fame and awards like Padma Bhushan in 2007, he chose to come home to his small town Aligarh. Like just now, Dr. Sangeeta said about migration. So I think your roots, they keep calling you, So he came home to his small town, where he comfortably sat wearing a vest and a lungi, and with a salt and pepper hair and a few days old beard, smoking beeri, which is a crude cigarette, and chatting with friends in semi-rustic dialect, that countryside area of that Uttar Pradesh. So Neeraj often said that when Yamraj, the god of death, comes, I sing a song for him and he goes back. So there were times when Neeraj fell sick and he got well. So he always used to say that when Yamraj comes, I sing a song for him and he goes back. So that song was ऐसी क्या बात है, चलता हूँ अभी चलता हूँ. ऐसी क्या बात है, चलता हूँ अभी चलता हूँ. गीत एक और जरा झूम के गा लूं तो चलूं. गीत एक और जरा झूम के गा लूं तो चलूं. But unfortunately, on 19 July 2018, death could not be lured with songs. He died in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, at the age of 93. In his words, इतने बदनाम हुए हम तो जमाने में, इतने बदनाम हुए हम तो जमाने में, तुमको लग जाएंगी सदियां हमें बुलाने में. तुमको लग जाएंगी सदियां हमें बुलाने में. नीरज जी आपको वैसे भी नहीं कोई भूल सकता. And with these lines, I pay my tributes to the notable poet Gopal Das Neeraj, whose songs and poems, Muktak, Chand, Doha, and he experimented in so many forms. They are going to live through centuries to come. And thank you so much for hearing me. And thank you, Rupali ma'am. Thank you, Prasanna. Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta. Thank you, Professor Shahina. And thank you, Dr. Mumru, for being with me. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Poonam, for this wonderful presentation. And, one of the songs that we always heard was Karawa Guzar Gaya. Somehow, when we were young, and we heard that he watched his beloved being married away or something like that. So, hum log ko bahut dukh lagta tha sunkar. But Neeraj is well known, and you have sung his songs, and he was so popular in the Hindi. Oh, so many of these Hindi film songs are written by him. I was not aware of, to be very honest. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure.
Poonam sings also very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Even
So
Joba today.
The presentation became all the more interesting with, rendering of the songs, the evergreen numbers.
Yeah, very nice. The songs are so nice.
Beautiful. They were super popular.
Super popular. Most of Devanand songs and so many of them. All old songs were lovely. So thanks to Prasanna for letting me go through all this again. And
thank you. Today has been such a fine evening because we've heard about Santali literature and poetry and heard the songs. And, we've heard of Kreki Udarwala and migration, especially, there's something, because I also come from a family which migrated from Pakistan, what is now Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So they would always say we are refugees from, both East and West, things. So migration stories always were there in our heart. And, your story of, it is so interesting, that he went back, that Gopal Das Neeraj went back to his village, and, and the way he would talk to Yamraj, that थोड़ा सा और जीने दो, truly, मुझे भी ऐसे लगता है कि नहीं, मुझे और जीना है. What she said.
Sangeeta reminded me of my father-in-law. He was also from Layalpur. So he migrated from Layalpur, Pakistan.
Okay. Yeah,
So she brought back memories.
Sorry, Rupali, can you unmute my mic?
How
Rupali,
does that happen?
can you unmute
that
my
so?
mic?
This is
We can
Shahina.
hear you, ma'am. Ma'am, we can hear you. Please go ahead, ma'am. Please.
So Shahina and Murmu, ma'am, they can send translations of works of these writers for Setu. We will surely carry them.
Yes.
In English, if they have been translated, if you have some translations, they are welcome.
It was such a lovely session. Thanks
Yes,
for bringing us all together.
It was good that there were just 4 presenters. So it got over within limited time frame.
Positive time. We pause it. The lack of time, we have limited it for the 15 minutes for each to present.
We're so grateful, because all of you are so busy and you're all into
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Please.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So Sangeeta, I think I'll send you. I have made a lot of translations already. So whatever verses I did in this.
Is it Shahina saying this?
Yes, this is Shahina.
Okay.
My Wi-Fi crashed, so I am on the phone now on data. Okay. Yeah, so only my picture is there, and thank you for letting me speak. So,
Yeah.
Sangeeta, I've heard you. I heard the whole thing on the cell phone. I'll
Mhm.
make those little translations wherever I've used Urdu couplets. Along with the couplets, I'll translate it to English and send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks a lot. And it was wonderful. Absolutely great. I tell you about Neeraj. Oh, so many memories you brought back. And
Thank
K.K.
you.
Daruwala, of course, we've read so much. And a new introduction by about Mr. Murmu. Thank you, Prasanna and Rupali.
Shahina reminded me of Tabassum of the good old days. The way she speaks, and she also looks like her quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. That's a huge
फूल
compliment.
खिले
I'm
हैं
so
गुलशन
humbled.
गुलशन फूल खिले हैं
All
गुलशन
that was
गुलशन
Ji,
excellent.
Gul Khile and Gulshan.
Enough.
In fact, you know what? She used to call Rifat Sarosh her Mamu. And I
Okay.
have met, she used to call him Mamu Jan because his sister was my father's friend.